Hi, I'm Tony Staunton, Irish bartender out of Chicago. After years of drinking, I decided to take a year off. So as I begin my journey, I decided to ask fellow bartenders what they do to stay healthy and avoid the industry hazards of the bar business. Welcome to Wide Awake 52. Chris Cardone, welcome to Wide Awake 52. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome, 2017. World Class Bartender of the Year.
Yes, sir.
It's no joke. I know you're very passionate about flair.
Yeah.
And also very knowledgeable, as a bartender / mixologist.
Yeah.
It's very unusual to have both the entertainer and the someone who's very knowledgeable come together with both. So you're quite a unique character in the world.
Yeah.
Hey, I read your article poured out on paper,
Yeah.
and that was very interesting, and that was very personal.
It was.
And I have to say, it takes a lot of balls to do that, and I have a lot of respect for that.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
Especially in an industry where we're encouraged, heavy drinking is encouraged.
It is.
And I was definitely one of those guys for sure.
Yep.
What was the reaction when you decided to take a break and?
Okay, so the reason that I decided to take a break from drinking was that I developed over years this really random, there was no pattern, there was no reason, but it was just a random occurrence of hallucinations. And they were all apocalyptic, one way or another. Aliens coming to get me, zombies coming to get me. There was always some apocalyptic nature to my hallucinations. And I always would brush them off as there was another reason. I was really tired. I was dehydrated. I had drank too much coffee and something happened. I always had another reason besides, maybe it's alcohol. There was always another reason, right? And so the final night that the fourth hallucination that I had, I realized that there was a connection between alcohol and that, and it wasn't necessarily over drinking. It was, I went out and had a couple beers. I mean, I think it's been almost 3.5 years, so it's hard to exactly remember, but I believe I had something like 3 or 4 beers and a shot. Now for me, that was an easy night, at that time. And so I had a 4-hour blackout on that, and I thought zombies were coming to kill me. And when I woke up, I realized that I needed to take a break. And so I called my friend and I told him I was going to take a month off. And I had always taken a month off every year. I did this for years and years and years as like my cleanse, right? Because if I knew that if I could take a month off, I was okay. I didn't have a drinking problem. Because if I can do it in a month, I'm good. And so that was my little delusion, to make myself believe that I was good because I could take a whole month off from drinking. So I called him up, I said, take a month off. And he said, what's the point? When you take a month off, the very next day, you drink like you have to make up for those 30 days. And I said, all right, without thinking, I just said, all right, I'll do a year. And his response was, you couldn't do a year.
Sure,
and
that's a challenge.
And what bothered me was I thought he was right. I was like, shit, I don't think I could do a year. And so therefore, I was like, well, now I am doing a year. And so I thought I was drinking in a year. I really did. And I got to about 7-8 months, and I realized that my life was improving and I was happier. And I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm ever drinking again. And now 3.5 years later, I don't even want to drink.
Sure, but when you do a training, you drink to taste, or
I do. I taste and spit. Yeah. My thing was, there's no box, right? And this does not fit in a box for everybody. Every single person on the planet is different. Everyone's brains are wired differently. Everybody's bodies are wired differently, and everybody has a different reason for why they drink, how they drink, and how much they drink, and all that. And so, for me, I never had any negative consequence from tasting and spitting alcohol. Never. It was always on a social atmosphere. It was always when I was drinking multiple drinks out in a social atmosphere. So for me, I've been lucky enough to be able to, and again, some people can't do it, and I get that, and I respect that, but I've been lucky enough to be able to compartmentalize. So one is for science, learning, and professional reasons, and everything else is for fun. I take that away, and I keep this. But I still, to this day, 3.5 years later, every time I put alcohol in my mouth, I make sure I remember to spit, because it's a slippery slope. You swallow that one time, and all of a sudden it's like, well, I swallowed one sip, so what's the difference if I swallowed two sips?
Jack McGarry, he said that from your town, from New York. He just said he knows he just can't have one. So
that's it. So you just don't have any.
Take a break,
right. Yeah. So I spit everything. But again, I'm lucky enough to compartmentalize that. I can taste and spit and understand that it's for a different reason. Whether I'm judging a competition or creating a cocktail, to me, this is work.
Sure, and
This
you're not
is
getting
fun.
drunk. You can't get drunk.
I mean, you can, but you have to spit a lot. You know, I don't think there's a coincidence between sobriety and winning world class. I think that there was a very clear situation there. When you make a point to yourself to change, I think the step to change, and I think the step to health, is being able to evaluate yourself and understand that you're not perfect and that that's okay. And so for me going through sobriety, I've had a lot of things I've had to deal with, a lot of demons, a lot of issues. Whether it's drugs, alcohol, I mean, any addiction is just a form of coping mechanism, you know? And so you do, when you're feeling bad, you drink, and so you don't feel bad anymore. And so when you take that out, you have to deal with your shit, right? There's nowhere to hide. You can't get away from yourself anymore. Yeah. And so with World Class, it was the same thing. There's no difference between saying I have a drinking problem and I have to deal with that, or I have insecurity problems and I have to deal with that, and saying I am not good at garnishing. There's no difference, except in our mind.
You just have to approach it.
You have to say, this is okay to not be good at this, and I can improve in this.
Yeah,
I need to take the time to reach out to people who can help me and get better at it, whatever it is. And I think a lot of people are afraid to take that step. I think, and again, I was for 17 years when I was drinking. It's scary to say I'm not perfect. It's hard. We're bombarded with social media and people saying, my life's great. My life's great. Everything's great. And so we are trained to think, well, if I'm not perfect, then there's something wrong with me. And the truth is that no one's perfect. And I still have plenty of shit I'm dealing with, And it's when you start believing that you're perfect, that you're in trouble, or
major trouble, yeah.
Or hiding from it.
Well, it's great to have you here, man. Well, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Absolutely a pleasure. Cheers.
Cheers.